Welcome back. You might have seen our last video on the principles of improvisation, which the principle is yes and. To accept what people are offering you and move the scene forward, or move whatever in your life it is you want to move forward. So we're going to give you a practical example today on how to use the yes and approach when you want to connect with someone and have a conversation, to really open it up rather than just going into a debate, which is usually what happens. And we'll be using the food choices dilemma today because that can ruffle a lot of feathers, and you can use this for anything. But our demonstration is going to be about a vegan talking to a meat eater and trying to open up some other viewpoints for them to look at. What usually happens, I was just going to tell you this, is the other night I was at this networking event and it was for environmentalists, and I took all this vegan food and I was showing videos about the advantages of eating vegan food, and this guy came up to me afterwards and he said, you know, I still like to eat a steak once in a while. My first impulse was to say, oh man, you know, that takes 2,500 gallons of water for 1 pound of meat. Did you know that? But instead of doing that, whew, I took a breath and I just looked at him, and I was in my mind going, how can I agree with him? So I said, yes, and if everybody cut back to eating less meat, like only once a week, it'd be a lot less stress on our environment. And the guy kind of looked at me like, wow, she's not going to make me wrong. And we had this nice connection, and I know that the next time that he goes to eat a steak, he's going to think twice about it, and he's going to remember that in a positive way. So yes, and find something you can agree with that person, and then take it to the next step. So let's, Lori's going to be the carnivore in this situation. I'm going to be the vegan. And let's just take these one at a time. These are just 3 examples of many.
All right, let's start with this one.
Okay.
I could never give up cheese and dairy. They're just too delicious.
Oh man, I remember when I used to eat cheese, and those cheese pizzas, I would get the double cheese and it was good. And then one day I realized what it takes to get that cheese on my plate. And I was doing some research and I found out that the cows have to be continually impregnated, and then the babies on average are with their mothers for a day, and then they're taken away so that we can have the milk to make the dairy products. And after that, I kind of lost my taste for it.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. How about I only eat organic beef and cage-free eggs. I know the animals have had a good life.
Yeah, so it sounds like you really care about the welfare of animals. Me too. I love animals. And the cage-free eggs, you know, I first saw those and I thought, wow, I'm really doing a good service for the chickens. I'm allowing them to be cage-free chickens. But then I found out cage-free doesn't mean that they're out running around in the sunshine. They're actually all together in this huge building, and the conditions are so horrific that they actually have to cut their beaks off so that they don't kill each other in the meantime. And then the same thing in hatcheries, they take all the male chicks because they can't produce eggs, and they kill them instantly. And so anyway, I was finding out all this information, and the more we're trying to be humane, I think we can all kick it up a notch and really understand what the advertisers are saying to us and what that really means.
All right. That's good information, Pamela. My husband is a real meat eater. It just wouldn't work. I like to fit in and be normal.
Yeah, I like to fit in too. It feels good. You know, to not be an outcast. I felt that way most of my life growing up. And then one day I go, my values are kindness, respect, and equality for all beings. And at that point I started living my values, and that's when I really started feeling comfortable in my own skin. Okay, and then I would ask her a question and we'd take it back and forth. But that connection in the beginning is really key to having a conversation rather than a debate. Now we're going to give you an example of the opposite of yes and that is no but, you know, to disagree with somebody. And this is another popular objection to being vegan. And I will start. Let's switch.
Switch these.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll be the carnivore.
I will be the vegan.
Okay. And so Lori, I've read the Bible, And I know it says right in there, plain as day, that God gave us dominion over the animals.
No, he gave us the Garden of Eden with lots of fruits and vegetables.
No, what about all those fishing stories? He's out there fishing.
No. There's a quote about God giving us everything herb-bearing seed, and that should be our meat.
Well, I don't think God would have made animals if he didn't want us to eat them.
In India, cows are sacred. Anyways, his whole message was about compassion, not killing.
Okay, and then we're starting to want to kill each other, right?
Right.
Because we're just debating back and forth and back and forth. The space between us is getting tighter and tighter, and there's no opening for any kind of change. So it can be easy in the short term to want to be right, to say our opinions, especially when we feel so compassionate about animals. We want to be right, but that really doesn't serve the animals. It only serves our ego. So how can we find some commonality, some way to agree with the person? We're all in this together, and then take it from there. So thanks a lot, Lori, for
thank you,
demonstrating.
Pamela. That was great.